What's up guys, Grant with Smooth. I've got a Primal Flow workout for us today. I designed this for the morning to wake you up, to get you connected with the body and also get a quick workout in before you start your day. But feel free to come back to this workout at any time of the day for a quick workout and a nice pick-me-up. We're gonna get right into it, so stand up. Just start by taking it into a small bounce through the body. We're gonna swing those arms down, flexing through the spine, rounding through the back, bending into the knees. And then on the inhale, reaching above the head, extending through the spine, pushing those hips forward and reaching the arms overhead. Finding a nice flow and easing into this. Especially on that extension, driving through those feet, creating a nice bow through the body. Don't want to put any excess pressure on the lower back. Pairing each part of the movement with your breath. Exhale as you come down. Inhale on extension. Driving through those feet and feeling that connection all the way up through the reach, through the hands. All right, awesome work. Next move, we're gonna take it into the hinge to squat. So I'm gonna hinge my hips back, reaching for the ground. Once my hands place the ground, notice a little knee bend here. We're gonna go ahead and sink into a squat. And we're gonna keep the heel elevated, bringing those eyes up, getting nice and long through the spine. Straight legs, and then standing tall through that hinge. So again, reaching for the ground, squatting, eyes come up and then heavy through the head, straight leg, and standing tall. And again, if you're just waking up and things are really creaky, stiff, working with what you got. That's why I like the heel elevated squat there. And you can start to work in the range that is accessible right now. Maybe you can start to expand it over time, especially incorporating that breath. So next time you come down into that squat, we're gonna take it into the monkey rock. So reaching the hands out in front, rocking and touching the knees down. You can either keep the hands down on the ground as you rock back into the squat, or you can start to press back. And maybe you hit your heels to the ground, maybe not. Either way, we just want to get used to rolling through the foot and then starting to load the hands, load the wrists, make that connection into the core. Again, steady with the breath. Doesn't really matter if you're inhaling or exhaling as you rock forward. Just making sure you're pairing your movement with your breath. You can start to play around with bringing the knees out a little bit wider, or even bringing the knees in as you touch down and then opening up. That's a nice little flow there. And this one's feeling nice and juicy for me. So let's go ahead and just take another 30 seconds in this movement. Again, maybe if you've been just touching the knees down with the hands on the ground, you can start to press back a little bit. Or you can even think about reaching forward a little bit further, touching the knees down, and then having to press back a little bit further. Feeling that rotation through the ankle, a little opening through the hips. So we can really get into ankles, knees, and hips in this movement. So next movement, we're gonna take it into the cat march. And you can do this with your knees on the ground or elevated. I'm gonna start with my knees on the ground. Tucking the toes under, wrists underneath shoulders, and then I've got my knees underneath my hips, maybe a little bit forward, so I got a little bit more crease at the hips. And I'm gonna sink into my shoulder blades or retract them just a little bit. Still driving firmly through the hands. And I'm gonna press through my right hand, press through my left knee, lift left hand and right knee. Come back down and alternate sides. So I wanna sink into this a little bit, retract, and then protract the shoulder blades as I press away. Want to have those eyes up, maybe just a few feet in front of you. So we're not rounding through the back a ton. Our abdominals are nice and long. Our hips are loaded. And then if you want to elevate the knees, get a little bit more demand through the core, same movement, but now a lot more load through those contact points of the foot and the hand. Keep this going for another 10 or so seconds. Let's pause and hold those contact points, coming on down, reaching up on the other side. Breathe and down. And rest. All right. Whew. Hopefully getting the core fired up a little bit there. So next one we're gonna do is the Commando Rock. So I'm gonna come down to my forearms, and I really wanna focus on driving through those forearms. I know I got my tank top on so you can't see, but I don't wanna just dump out through the lower back and lose my core integrity. So driving through those forearms, maybe taking a breath here, feeling that core and rib cage come in together. And then you're rocking back into the hips as you drive through those forearms. And we want to do our best to keep the forearms parallel and really get a nice stretch through the lat. And then rocking forward as far as you want to, or as far as feels good. And you can really start to turn this into a little elbow push-up, but take it easy. Do what feels good for you this morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is. Driving through those forearms, really pulling back through the hips. And again, we don't want to just dump out through the rib cage. Keep driving through the ground, keeping good integrity through the core. It's really going to help you stretch out your lats. Get that nice overhead position. So coming up from those forearms, and we're going to get into the cat position once again. Now, big focus is driving through these hands and making sure we're getting length through the spine. So I'm gonna go from cat, reaching those hips back into bear. And I want you to notice those slightly bent knees, the hip crease, and then also I'm not just trying to get my chest to my thighs. I wanna drive through those hands, thinking length to create extension as opposed to forcing the extension. And then we either can come down, touch the knees, or just hover. From that point, pressing back, and maybe you can get a little bit straighter through the knees. But all this is happening because I'm driving through my hands and then reaching, anchoring the spine with my pelvis, with my hips. Nice and controlled. And we're gonna need the ability to drive through these hands in the next few exercises. So really making that connection. Cool. So I'm gonna walk my hands forward just a bit, elevate those knees, and then press back into the hips, driving through those hands. And then I'm going to take right knee to left wrist, and then open up into the scorpion. So I'm driving through my hands, I'm driving through that contact point through the left foot, opening through the hip, and then I return, load, come back to the other side. So left knee to right wrist, opening up through that left hip, pointing the toe, driving through those hands, and then left knee to right wrist, back to that loaded position. Exhale as you bring that knee to wrist. Inhale as you open up into that scorpion. Exhale as you bring the knee back to the wrist, and then inhale in that loaded position. Let's go one more each side. Whew. Man, I like that one. We're gonna take it into the mountain climber with the lizard reach. Now this can be done with the knees on the ground if you need a little breather, but I'll show you how you can elevate the knees and do the same thing. So I'm gonna rock back into the hips, starting with the knees on the ground, and then I'm gonna place my right foot outside of my right hand. Maybe my hands are a little bit more narrow. I'm gonna get heavy through the elbow and bend down here a little bit, driving through this foot. Nice stretch through the hip, reaching forward, and I'm following my hand with my eyes. I want you to check this out. So my thumb's pointed down here. I want to continue to internally rotate the shoulder so the pinky comes down, and then I'm going to unwind that, following the hand with the eyes, returning to that starting position, placing the hand, and then rocking back into the hips. Left foot comes up, sinking heavy through that left elbow, driving firmly through that left foot, and then reaching forward. Again, I'm rotating through the shoulder internally. That thumb comes down. I keep going so that pinky comes down, and then I reverse it, sinking it down again, replacing the hand, and returning back to the loaded position. We're gonna do that 2 more times each side. Sinking down, reaching, rotating through the shoulder, creating that nice circle, and then really doing your best to stay in that shoulder. Have the motion originate from the shoulder. If you want to make it more challenging, we elevate those knees, and then I'm going to keep that leg, that back leg, nice and extended throughout the movement. Replacing the hand down, loading. Load and rest. So a lot of time facing the ground. We're gonna open that up in the crab position. So get your butt on the ground, feet planted. Fingertips can either be pointing out or back, anywhere in between. And then from this position, lifting through the heart, driving firmly through those arms and those shoulders. And then you can scoot your butt towards your heels. Get a little stretch to the chest, see how that feels. Making sure we're still open through that chest, coming back towards the hands, and then finding somewhere in the middle. So this position alone, I'd recommend in the morning, really opening up the chest, unwinding any sort of sleep posture or heavy shoulders that we get from sitting all the time. And then what we're gonna do now is lift left hand and right foot, And we're just gonna go into this sit through position. So it's as if we just kicked through here. And you can either have the foot down on the ground or lift it up like so. And so we're gonna just simply return, lifting left foot, right hand. Again, that side support position. If you wanna kick that leg out for more support, you got it. If you wanna just elevate that and really drive through this contact point, breathing into the torso, returning back to crab. Once again, opposite hand, opposite foot, rotating in that side body. Kick the leg out if you need a little bit more support or you just want to stretch out a little bit more. It's a nice stretch. Returning back to crab. So finding a nice steady flow with this, taking your time, no need to rush through it. If you want to add something to it, elevate through that planted leg heel. And return back down. Breathe. Creating space with that pressure through the ground. Let's go ahead and rest. Now we're just gonna take it into some crawling on the ground. Okay, so we're gonna go cat crawl to begin, and then once you run out of room, you can either just change directions or you can under switch, and I'll go over that, into the crab. So feel free to just shake out those hands if you need it right now. Maybe a few wrist rolls. We'll get rolling with those crawls in just a second. So I do have a little bit more room here, but I'm just gonna try to stay in this circle to show you that you can do this in a small space. Just take small strides, really stay engaged through the core, and breathe. So crawling forward. Just staying in that cat position. All right, maybe you want to get a little extension through the shoulders. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna come to that cat position, lift right hand, left foot, bring that knee under, right? That side support position here, and then come back into crab. Same thing, opposite hand, opposite foot as we crawl. And just having a good sense of your center, continuing to breathe, keeping those eyes up, not hunching through the shoulders, extend through that heart. Just keep it moving. Giving the body some nice variety and play. If you got a little bit more room, use it, right? Play around, have a good time with this. I'm gonna hit that under switch, come back to cat. Whew. Let's go ahead and hit that crab one more time, under switch. Again, using that hand position that makes sense for you. It might be that fingertips pointed out, might be forward, might be back, might be some variety as you move throughout your space. All right, let's go ahead and rest there. Awesome work with the crawling. We're gonna finish up with one more move, the floor scorpion. So I'm gonna come down to my stomach and I'm gonna bring my arms out into a T. Oops. Bring those arms out into a T. And if you want to bring them up a little bit further, that might just change the angle of stretch on your chest. And I'm going to look over to the right. So when I do that, I'm going to lift my right foot, just like we did the scorpion earlier. And if I can, touch the ground. Notice this hand's just sliding. If I need more support, I can bring it in. I do want to continue to drive through this hand, really making sure I'm getting that nice stretch through the chest. And breathing. Noticing any excess tension in the neck as well, seeing if you can breathe that away. Awesome, let's go ahead and extend that arm out. Coming back through the center. Hopefully this isn't just terrible audio on the mic, we'll see. Again, I'm looking over to the left, I reach my left foot up and over. And now I'm stretching through that right side of my body, that chest, that shoulder. Let's go ahead and get one more on each side. So looking over to the right, reaching over with that right leg. And stretching that left shoulder and chest. If you need to change the angle through your arm, that's fine. Always good to play with different angles. Let's go ahead and return back through center, looking over that to that left side, reaching left foot over. Want to feel connection through the body, but seeing what effort is necessary. All right, passing back through the center. We're going to flip it on over to the back. And this is where we're going to finish up. Feel free to hang out here as long as you need to, want to. We're just going to hit this starfish position. And with each exhale, getting heavy into the ground, letting go of any tension that no longer serves you. Allowing the breath to center you. And that is all I've got for you today. Again, hang out here as long as you'd like. Thanks so much for showing up for this practice. Subscribe to the channel, of course, once you get up. And as always, stay smooth.